Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 8 of the MDRN Future Podcast. I'm your host, K.L. Smith, and today we're talking about Tesla. A lot of news since last week. Lucid Air, Lucid Motors specifically, they have their global reveal tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about all the things that they've been showing off, some really cool stuff from them. Nikola Motors partnered with GM. That news came out today. The day this podcast is being released, and going to end it with Cooperative Coffee, which is not local, not directly local, but in my state coffee roaster that I want to talk a little bit about. So let's hop right into the first bit of Tesla news. First off, this is something that I saw over on Electric when they were posting about video game and user interface team. That just caught my eye. I saw it on Twitter, then went to the article to read some more about it because I'm currently in the video game industry. Got started in the video game industry out of Austin, Texas, and that's where they happen to be hiring. There's so much investigative work on Tesla that the community does just without prompting, just to get up on leg up on news or updates or whatever they can. And this one was spotted on the careers website, but it just talks a little bit about, what they're hiring for, basically stating that Tesla is working on a lot of, their entertainment, infotainment systems and want to build out a team out of there. I believe they also have one out of Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. But this one is near and dear to me just because I'm in video game space. I've played a couple games inside of my Tesla, but mostly use it, if I'm sitting at the supercharger, which I've done maybe 3 or 4 times because I have a home charging unit. But I will watch Netflix, which tends to be my thing of choice inside of the Tesla, my entertainment of choice. But I played the Dune Buggy racing game, and I think there's some opportunities for them to continue to capitalize that on, especially if you are going on longer road trips. You have way more mileage, something like a Cybertruck, more space to plug in some controllers and have a good time. So seeing a video game and user interface team definitely has me excited. This is just another platform, if you will. I'm wondering what the connectivity will be like for games on those platforms, where they're going to go more mobile focused, or they're going to do some like cloud based things like Google or even xCloud, where you can play some higher end games that are on the cloud. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's super interesting to see that unit in place, and will be in effect in Austin, a place where there's just an absolute ton of game developers, very talented game developers that work out of that city. It's not all West Coast, it's certainly not like places like East Coast New York and some of the bigger cities, but Austin has just an absolute ton of game developers that are very, very talented out of the city. So they shouldn't have any problems hiring talent down there for sure. Next up out of Tesla is that they didn't make the S&P 500, which was really catapulting the stock. All the speculation about being qualified to enter, some of the folks that dropped out, the big one being like Exxon, right? It's not in S&P 500 anymore. And so there's all of this speculation that really built up the unbelievable run that Tesla had in a very short period. And now we're kind of seeing it cool off quite a bit after this news. I've seen some folks say that they were snubbed because they added folks like Etsy and things like some companies had like 9 times, Tesla had 9 times the value of, or more, 10 times the value of some companies that were added to the S&P 500. There were 3. I just remember Etsy off the top of my head. There's some speculation on whether or not it was the quality of the profits that they've had in the last 4 quarters. A lot of folks talking about the regulatory credits as being a big no-no for the process for them being determined. I mean, who knows what really goes on? It's such a black box. It's definitely taking some wind out of the sails, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that they won't be added. It just means that they're not added right now. So that's something I think that's worth mentioning. And then on top of that, there's a lot of things that I think I would personally like to see before they are added. And one of those is just like very, very consistent growth in revenue from some of the things that they're doing that isn't automotive. I know a lot of focus, at least from analysts, is on the automotive side, but personally, I don't really care too much about the automotive side because I know that is really great because I own a Tesla. I'm really focused on like, what is the energy business going to look like? What is the insurance business going to look like? With the energy business, what is auto bidder going to do, and the virtual power plants, which we're going to talk about just a little bit. But that side of the business is what I really want to see growth in, and it has me the most excited for the future. I mean, full autonomous driving, the robotaxi stuff, all of that is exciting as well. But again, that's more on the automotive side. And because I own a Tesla, I have a really, really good, sound understanding of what makes their vehicle special. So I think they're going to win there pretty easily. I just want to know what that other side of the business looks like, because the way they're integrated is just absolutely unbelievable. The vertical integration that they have, and even the battery cell production, I would want to see more of that because it directly affects energy, and they could end up being a supplier in some cases if their tech is that much more advanced, and they're really pushing the envelope there. So I'm much more focused on that side and seeing how that continues to propel the company to further heights here in the future. So while I definitely think that it's in the short term, it's definitely going to hurt. It's hurting folks that invested in the stock a little later. But for a positive, it's definitely doesn't mean that it won't happen. And if it does in the future, then it's going to be another massive run, which I expect to see here pick up very soon as we get closer to Battery Day. All right, so virtual power plants. Just mentioned that a second ago. They are in phase 3 in South Australia for this virtual power plant, pilot program that they're running out of there. If you remember, South Australia has the Mega Pack, was the largest in the world, recently got replaced. It's like second biggest. But during it, I mean, if you've been following the energy story out of Australia, the grid there is not great. The cost of electricity is pretty high, and it seems like this is an opportunity for them to really streamline their process for rolling this out into more areas at a faster pace. I really do believe that they're a company that does a really good job at testing something and then quickly iterating in order to make it better. And this is one of those, the virtual power plants is one of those things where if you look at what they're doing in South Australia, and now they're entering phase 3, this is the prototype where they're rapidly adding and testing things to the energy side of the business to see how this will roll out in other places that they're going to offer energy. They applied to be an energy provider in Germany not too long ago, UK, and so these things are picking up. And if they're using Australia as the test bed for a lot of this, I think once those things get approved and they're ready to go in Europe, then it's going to just turn up and they're going to be ready to go after testing this. But for phase 3, they're using distributed power via the power walls and solar to basically tether to the grid in order to distribute energy, right? It's just a way to make energy distribution a lot more reliable and just better for that area where it's traditionally very cost expensive, prohibitive for some families, and not reliable. And so phase 3 is adding more homes to this effort to get to 50,000 total homes that are in this virtual power plant test bed. And they just added, I want to say 3,000. They're at like 4,000, or they want to add 3,000. They're at 4,000, something like that. And they are offering households a battery plus a solar system for free, and at no cost. So for free, and in exchange for paying their electricity bill to Tesla at 20% less than what they would get from the grid. So that's pretty significant cost savings for the folks that are, complaining about it either being too expensive or not reliable. This is an effort to make that better. I'm going to have to do a really deep dive on virtual power plants. I've been reading a lot about them to understand how it works. And I want to understand Tesla's AutoBidder technology a little bit more before I really dive deep into it. But I'm looking forward to increasing my knowledge on this specific topic over time as, my wife and I contemplate solar on our own home and possibly using energy, maybe a Powerwall. I've had that priced out as our energy storage for backup. Then we got Panasonic adding another battery production line in Nevada at the Gigafactory. This will be 14th, I think, or something like that. I don't know the total number now, but Panasonic is making a lot of news. If you remember, I've talked about this previously. They're making a lot of news and headlines around what they're doing with their batteries for Tesla ahead of this Tesla Battery Day on the September 22nd. We are, 14 days away? So 2 weeks from now, we should be getting all the information that we can possibly glean from Tesla Battery Day. And I'm actually even a little concerned at this point that our expectations are so astronomically high that maybe they don't live up to, the pedestal that we've put them on at this point. But emotions and feelings and analysis right now is all running super high ahead of Tesla Battery Day. And so any little snippet of news now, I think we're all kind of chomping at the bit and overanalyzing at this point and making it bigger than it is. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the visit to the German Gigafactory, which happened basically over the weekend, where Elon took a visit there, did some other things, got to ride in an ID3, talked to Herbert Diess, the CEO of Volkswagen, and they had a little bit of a speculative, caused a little bit of speculation on if Volkswagen was now working with Tesla because of all of this. But it's been super interesting to see that relationship continue to blossom. I think I mentioned this, at least on the podcast, if not with some folks that I talk about this EV stuff with on a regular, my brother mainly. But just seeing their relationship continue to go in the direction that it's going, and then Elon hopping in an EV, testing it out, providing feedback. I think it's really important because it really paints the picture even clearer that he is really trying to push sustainable energy forward and wants the automotive industry to make that transition. And in this interview that he did, he talked about, which I thought was so fascinating. Someone asked him a question of why it was so important for the gigafactories to go up quickly. And he answered it saying hey, this is vital. We're taking this so serious about transitioning to sustainable energy that it is imperative that we move quickly. The reason that we're putting up these factories so quickly, the reason that I am moving so quickly on all of this is because it is dire that we do this now and transition right now and be the fastest that we possibly can. And just hearing him say that and with that focus, it's not because they want to make more cars. It's not because they want to make more money. It's not because his answer was really, really straightforward in that no, I'm doing this because this is dire. We are in a critical phase right now where sustainable energy is super important and climate change is super important, and we need to make that transition. And so him stressing that really was it was kind of a shock to me because I didn't expect that answer based on that question. I thought he was going to say, we want to get in the European market. We think it's really important to get the Model Y and this factory up because they have a lot of great innovative things. Nope, that wasn't his answer at all. It was, this is dire. Gotta transform the automotive industry. Gotta get off of fossil fuels. Gotta correct climate change. Gotta do what we can. That was the focus, and I was like, damn, that's pretty serious. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then the other part they talked about was the core structural change to models, mainly the Model Y, coming out of the Germany factory. And the reason that this is really important is, I saw Sandy Monroe talking about it, but basically that rear piece that they're talking about, the casting of that piece, it's two pieces right now, more or less, and they want to get that down to one big piece. And Elon really stressed the importance of basically cutting down the manufacturing process. He has done this multiple times, but in that interview, you just mentioned how the structural change really is a big leap forward for manufacturing for Tesla and maybe for the automotive industry in general. But it's basically cheaper to manufacture with fewer parts, that just allows that machine that builds the machine to pump out the production of the vehicles at a much faster rate. So those were a lot of the Tesla bits that happened over the past week since I had the last episode last week. But I think the most important for me was probably the virtual power plant. Just because, and the answer to that, why the gigafactories were so important. Those two things I think really hit me the hardest. The virtual power plants, only because I've been thinking about more of what they're doing in Australia. They're offering this for free. We're using this as a test bed to really ramp up and roll out this auto bidder virtual power plant from Tesla really quickly once they hit all the markets that they're setting it up for right now. So UK, Germany, US, all of these places where I think they can be impactful. It's all happening at a maybe less scrutinized and less of a magnifying glass on it in Australia rate. So that hit me pretty hard. And then that answer on sustainable energy was like really eye-opening when talking about why they're moving so quickly and building these factories at the pace that they're going. So transition to Lucid Air and the Lucid Motors global reveal, which is happening tomorrow, September 9th. We get to see Lucid Motors unveil and talk about the Lucid Air, which I'm actually really excited about because they have shown a lot of fantastic things. The latest of which was the fastest quarter mile, which was previously Tesla's record. Again, they made it a point to smash every record that Tesla has done. Peter Rawlinson, again, former engineer at Tesla, basically helped construct the Model S, and seeing them kind of stick it to Tesla to get all these first place types of medals, if you will, I think is important for some folks. At this point, I think more for them, it's like, we need a way to put ourselves on the map. And this is something that I've been very critical of Legacy Auto is their first, not really even first, their second, third, fourth attempts are just at Tesla's like baseline. And Lucid's first attempt is better than Tesla's baseline. And that's the part that really sticks with me the most because Legacy Auto isn't trying to go the extra mile. It's really the newcomers that are taking the step to be better than Tesla and drive the industry forward. And so when I see that they have now the fastest quarter mile at 9.9 seconds, or the furthest range at 517 miles on a single charge, or the fastest charging at 900 volts, which is 20 miles of range per minute, these are all things that it's like, well, why isn't the rest of the automotive industry doing this? Why are they playing the very bare minimum that they can as their first and second and third entries or fourth entries into the EV space? And every single entry is going to be the Tesla killer, and yet it is worse than Tesla's entry level and in a lot of cases models. It's unfathomable that continues to be the story. And you got Lucid Air out here just going all out. And this is what I want to see. And this is what I would expect to see from someone that's really, really trying to challenge the status quo and move the industry forward, and making progress. So, hats off to Lucid. I'm excited for the reveal tomorrow. If you're not excited, you really should be. Um, Again, I mentioned some of these. They have the fastest quarter mile, 9.9 seconds with 1,080 horsepower, the furthest range, 517 miles on a single charge, the fastest charging of any vehicle with a 900-volt electrical architecture, which is basically up to 20 miles per minute. It's 300 miles of range in 20 minutes. The Lucid connected home charging station. It has one of the first with bi-directional charging. Basically, it charges the grid or your solar, whatever, charges the car. The car can be used as a energy storage unit like a Powerwall or backup generator and provide power back to your home. Like, this is crazy stuff, right? And they've also talked about, at least loosely, some of the other offerings that they're going to have, the energy storage systems. It sounds like they're basically trying to do everything Tesla is doing, but a little bit better. So, from a first effort for them, it's a really big positive. My main concern with any of the new ones is knowing new EV companies is knowing how much capital it takes to produce electric vehicles. It's astronomical. And so I'm just hoping they don't peter out. I've speculated that I think a lot of them will get purchased or have stakes some manner in them from Legacy Auto, as Legacy Auto is kind of like right here and they're maybe on the downtrend as we go to sustainable transportation. And they're playing catch up. Maybe some of them go bankrupt. Who knows? But I think that whatever technologies that we see coming out of some of the EV startups, Rivian, Lucid, Nikola, which we'll get to here in a second, are opportunities for Legacy Auto to fund some of those efforts if they can't live up to the hype and they don't make the effort to be best in class. It's kind of a smooth transition into the Nikola Motors news. Today they partnered with GM. Kind of surprising, not really. I mean, I talked about this in an article saying that I thought this was going to happen. I think that the biggest thing with Nikola from this announcement is that I don't know what they're doing in terms of. Let me rephrase that. I don't know what Nikola is offering that is a technological advancement in sustainable energy. And specifically Trevor Milton has been very, very adamant saying that they have all this tech. The battery technology that they have is top notch. The fuel cell technology that they have is top notch. Everything in their systems is top notch. And then when I look at this announcement that they have with GM is doing everything. GM is engineering, manufacturing, providing the batteries, providing the fuel cells for the hydrogen. like those are the four things that I would expect that Nikola's maybe doing two of those, batteries and at least somewhat offering batteries and the fuel cells. That's not the case. They're not even doing manufacturing in this case, at least for the Nikola Badger. Maybe this is not all encompassing. Maybe there's some details that I'm missing, and I don't have all the context. Don't know. I fully admit that there could be more under the hood than what I'm noticing. But from the bullet points, GM gets a $2 billion stake in the company. GM is gonna engineer, validate, and basically manufacture the Nikola Badger. For the battery, they're going to provide the battery and fuel cell electric vehicle variants of. Let's see. GM expects to. GM is going to be the exclusive supplier of fuel cells globally outside of Europe to Nikola for Class 7 out of 8 trucks, and then let me see what else. And then Nikola retains sales and marketing, basically brand ownership of the Nikola Badger. I don't know. So, I mean, what is Nikola's technological advantage here? Is it battery cells? I don't think so. Not based off of this. Is it the fuel cells? I don't think so. Not based off of this. Is it manufacturing? Doesn't seem like it, not based off of this. Is it maybe car design? I guess. And it could be that they're working with more people. Maybe GM, if you take out the engineering and the manufacturing portion of this and you just look at them as a supplier of batteries and fuel cells, this could be like the Panasonic Tesla relationship. Maybe. Um, I, I mean, look, if GM becomes, and this is the other thing that really is scary to me from a manufacturing side, just doing the all up thing, which is kind of what Fisker is going for as well. Let's say hypothetically that GM becomes constrained, supply constrained, either at the battery cell level, whatever the case may be. They have 11% stake. And as far as they're concerned, it's like, okay, well, these guys just became dependent on us. Well, we got our Hummer, we got our Lyric, we got our Chevy pickup, and we're battery constrained. Sorry, Badger, we're gonna have to renege on this and can't quite deliver this at your year-end 2022 production timeline date. Maybe we push it to 2023s. Like, well, I just don't know how this is an overall win for Nikola, other than them saying they save money from not having to do the battery power, maybe the powertrain, the engineering, manufacturing. Sure, they save money there, but at what cost? In the event that something goes poorly, and again, what is their advantage? That's the part that's really tripping me up right now is what the technology is that they have, that they've been touting for years. This deal doesn't seem like any of that really adds up. So again, it's pretty good news for them if they get to save $4 billion on the engineering side and manufacturing side and the production of the batteries and powertrains and all those things by taking GM's tech and putting it into their vehicle. But I just don't know why I would be excited about this company right now based off of this news. So just a little concerning there. But I expect to see more of this from whatever EVs start to pop up. Maybe some of the ones in China. We might see some companies in Europe, some automotive companies in Europe, U.S. and Japan investing in Chinese companies because they're further along in EVs. I don't know, but maybe this pattern will continue to persist. That's my anticipation. Last thing for the day is Cooperative Coffee. This is a place in Asheville, North Carolina, where I purchase my coffee beans, my roast, and my wife and I have really been enjoying them because they are, one, local. They was recommended to by someone that I work with, and most recently we did an order on September 2nd, I think, September 2nd or September 1st, and it was for my brother-in-law. His birthday was coming up, and we didn't think that we would get the order in very quickly, but my wife put in a note of like, hey, can you put a note in there, a happy birthday note, and get it sent off. And they expedited it without us asking. It got to him in basically on his birthday, and had the note in there, and we got the t-shirt, everything. And then here's the kicker. On top of doing that for us, they sent us a letter, meaning us, me, and my wife, saying, thank you for the support. We're a small business. This means the world to us. Just thank you. And I think we've been buying from them since basically the pandemic started. So like April, May, I'm going to say maybe mid to late April. And this is after like, we were in basically mid-March, end of March, we were like, we need to figure out our coffee routine. By April, we found a couple places. I got a recommendation, and then I started purchasing coffee from them since then. I've sent coffee to my mom. We bought multiple bags. And then we just sent some to a brother with a t-shirt. And then they sent us a handwritten letter that's like, thank you so much. And then I got an email on top of that, saying thank you so much for the support. We sent this off. They sent us pictures. They asked us if they could share the photos from that package on their Instagram, which I obliged. And I've just not really had that type of customer support and service from really any place that I've gotten coffee, let alone handwritten notes, emails, follow up, and all of that. And I was just blown away. So Cooperative Coffee, shout out to them. And if you love coffee, and you like brewing your own, check out their roasts. They're awesome. Again, locally owned. They'll ship to you in the U.S. I don't know if they do international, but lovely, lovely folks. And that's pretty much it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until the next time, folks, I'll catch you all later. Peace.